Hello, dear electrical students. Welcome to Electrical Power System lectures. Today, we are going to discuss reactive power compensation. I am Professor Manan Desai, Assistant Professor in Department of Electrical Engineering, Dr. Subhash Technical Campus, Junagadh. Now, what are the learning outcome from these lectures? So first, need of reactive power. Students are aware from need of reactive powers. Then introduction about reactive power compensation. They need to understand what is reactive power compensation. And after this lecture, they will completely understand. Then what is a principle of power transmission lines? Then students will also understand the types of compensations and different methods. Then introduction about FACS devices, static wear compensations, static compensators, and synchronous condensers. Now introduction. Reactive power is an essential tool to transmit the active power through the AC network. It required to maintain voltage of transmission network for the smooth transmission of active power. In AC transmission, when the voltage and current go up and down at the same time, the real power is transmitted. When there is a time shift between voltage and current, both active and reactive power are transmitted. The portion of power averaged over a complete AC waveform is the real power. The portion of power flow that is temporarily stored in the form of magnetic or electric fields due to inductive and capacitive network elements and then return to source is known as reactive power. Okay, so now you understand what is real power and what is a reactive power. Now it also be defined as the agent of energy required for establishment of magnetic field inside the system. It is very essential in electromechanical energy conversion process. So the equation is Q is equal to V into I sin phi. As you have studied, the reactive power generated or consumed must be within the limit, as the reactive power is not less than Q minimum and not greater than Q maximum. If it is happen so, then the Q is greater than Q maximum, the excess reactive power will set up a flux and the core, thereby eddy current increases, which causes the excessive heating of core, by which the thermal breakdown of insulation is possible and system will be collapsed. If the Q is less than maximum or less than minimum, then the insufficient magnetic path is created inside the machine, which may cause improper work done. Thereby, output is not proportional to the input, which leads to problem instability. Now, what is a need of reactive power? Students, it is most important that why we do compensation why we remove or diminishes the voltage fluctuation, and what are the need of reactive power. We need active power, but we also need a reactive power. So in resistive loads, the current produce the heat energy which produce the desired output. But in case of inductive loads, the current creates the magnetic field which further produce the desired work. Therefore, reactive power is the non-working power caused by magnetic current to operate and sustain magnetism in the device. Reactive power VARS is required to maintain the voltage to deliver active power, means watts, through the transmission line. So reactive power is need or required to maintain the voltage to deliver the active power. When there is not enough reactive power, the voltage sags down and it is not possible to deliver the required power to load through the lines. Now, what is a reactive power compensation? Compensate means, what is a compensation? Compensate means to balance. So we have to balance reactive power in our power system. Reactive power generated by the AC power source, and it is stored in a capacitor or a reactor during a quarter a cycle, and in the next quarter of a cycle it is sent back to the power source. So to avoid the circulation between the load and source, means to deliver or return back, deliver or return back. So it is to avoid the circulation, it needs to be compensated. To regulate the power factor of the system and to maintain the voltage stability, we need to compensate the reactive power. We need to compensate the reactive power for our voltage regulation and stability and proper utilization of machines which connected to our system, and overcome the losses associated with the system, preventing the system from the voltage sag and voltage collapse. So here you can see the various points which point out indirectly that we need to compensate the reactive power through these reasons. Now, in an electrical power network, when power is transmitted through high voltage or extra high voltage AC system, then certain parameters plays a key role. So which parameters are they? In alternating current system, actual power is enabled by virtue of imaginary power. To understand the basic phenomena behind the power transmission, let us model a transmission line. Model a transmission line which contain an electrical circuit like a 2 voltage source. Here you see the Vs and Vr have a circle which shows a 2 voltage source separated to each other by means of inductance, which is usually a transmission line reactance, JXL. This is basically the principle of power system or power transmission. Now, active and reactive power of the system is given by equation number 1. PR is equal to Vs VR by X sin delta, and QR is equal to Vs upon VR upon X cos delta minus VR square upon X. if we plot the graph, then x coordinates belongs to load angle delta and y coordinate belongs to active power P and reactive power Q. If we plot the graph, then we achieved the P max, maximum power on the point of pi by 2, means 90. Power flow can be controlled by applying one of the following means. First is shunt voltage at the midpoint, varying the line reactance X, and voltage with the variable magnitude in the series with the line. So for the compensation, we applied these 3 points wherever it needed. Now, going further, the types of compensation. How many types are there for the compensation? So, earlier I tell you that compensation means the balance. We should take care of this. So, in electrical power system, EHV line, the smooth transmission of electric power, we need to balance the voltage violation limit to achieve this objective. We can either inject current to control the voltage or inject the voltage to control the current. However, the two basic types of compensation techniques have been used: shunt and series. Now, shunt compensation. What is shunt compensation? The device is connected in parallel, as we can say in shunt, with the transmission line is called shunt capacitor. It is also known as load compensation. Shunt compensation used two kind of technique to improve the system performance in terms of voltage regulation and reactive power compensation. See this in this sentence we use a term voltage regulation. And do you know voltage regulation? Voltage regulation is voltage variations throughout the line from sending end to receiving end. We have to balance these voltage variations throughout the line. It is called a compensation, and we can do via this method, shunt or series. Right now we are discussed about shunt capacitor, compensation. So there are mostly two types: shunt connected reactors and shunt connected capacitors. Here in figure there are two sources and two buses, bus 1 and bus 2. The variable capacitor is connected in a shunt. This JXL by 2 and this JXL by 2, I1 and I2 shows the transmission line. And we have connected the capacitor bank between them in midpoint. Now series compensation. Series compensation is basically a powerful tool to improve the performance of EHV lines. It consists of capacitors connected in series with the line at suitable locations. A capacitor in series with the line gives control over the effective reactance between line ends. It is also known as line compensation. Here you can see the two sources and two buses, and this capacitor bank or variable capacitor is connected in series. So hence it is called series compensation. X effective reactance is equal to X minus XC. So total effective reactance that we after all achieved is basically the difference between main reactance and capacitive reactance, where X is the line reactance and Xc is the capacitive reactance. Now we can discuss about voltage profile, how a voltage profile will variate. For the fixed level of power transmission, voltage profile is relatively flat, corresponding to the natural loading or surge impedance loading. Actually, surge impedance loadings we have studied in a previous lectures. You can see if you want the lecture number 5, long transmission line. Now the reactive power requirements increases with the line length. So it is when the reactive power is more, line length is more. The line is said to be naturally loaded if its loading is equal to surge impedance loading. Hence, SIL, the reactive power absorbed, is exactly equal to the reactive power generation. See, when it absorbs capacity is increased, we have to generate it, or we can say we have to increase its generation capacity, so it will be balanced. So this is a absorption of reactive power. This is a generation of reactive power. This is a flat voltage profile. P is a loading of line and Pn is a natural loading of line. Okay. In this figure, it shows the flat profile of voltage, means a loading of line is equal to natural loading of line. If it is less than natural loading, then voltage will swell, and if it is greater than natural loading, then voltage will sag. This is the voltage profile. Now, FACTS technology. What is FACTS technology? The FACTS technology is a devices which balance the reactive power in the transmission line automatically. In 1980, Electrical Power Research Institute introduced the concept of FACTS technology, which intensively increased the use of power semiconductor devices for the compensation of reactive power. It is developed by EPRI in 80s, and FACTS devices are used to optimize existing transmission lines. It uses high-speed thyristor for switching in or out transmission lines components such as capacitors, reactors, and phase-shifting transformers. The FACTS technology is not a single high-power controller, but rather a collection of controllers which can be applied individually or in coordination. Now, types of FACTS devices. There are many types of FACTS devices. It's shown in this slide. Shunt connected, series connected, combined series and series, combined shunt and series, which is depending on the power electronic devices which uses in FACTS controllers. It is further classified as variable impedance type and voltage source converter type. There is a vast usage of static var compensator. So we will discuss about this. SVC, it belongs to a category of FACTS devices where the variable impedance is found by controlling the firing angle of power semiconductor devices. The SVC is designed to bring the system closer to unity power factor. Types of static VAR compensator are thyristor switched, thyristor controlled, thyristor switched capacitor, thyristor controlled, fixed capacitor thyristor controlled, and thyristor controlled series compensator. These all 5 types are the classification of static VAR compensator. Now, the SVC is automated impedance matching device. So, it is designed to bring the system closer to the unity power factor. If power system's reactive load is capacitive, I mean it is if leading, then SVC uses reactive or reactors in the form of TCR to consume the VAR from the system to lowering the system voltage. Okay, understand? If the system is capacitive, we need the SVC as it is used as a reactor, means absorption of reactive power. So SVC will act as a absorption of reactive power via uses reactors in the form of TCR. And if the system is lagging or inductive conditions, the capacitors banks are automatically switched and providing the higher system voltage. So in the both case, the SVC triggering automatically as the case is the capacitive or inductive. This is a figure which relates to SVC. This is an automatic thyristor which uses as a capacitor bank or reactor when it needed. Now, STATCOM. STATCOM is also known as Advanced Static VAR Compensators, which is essentially a voltage source converter. Advanced version of SVC with voltage source converter is basically known as STATCOM. It is an advanced version of SVC. This is a figure of SVC where different power electronic device and controllers in this block and connected with the system. Now, basically, VSC based STATCOM are divided into following categories. Static synchronous compensator, which is shunt connected, and static synchronous series compensator, which is series connected, and interline power flow controller, which is combined series and series controller, and unified power flow controller, which is connected in shunt and series also. Now, basically, the STATCOM system is comprised of power converters, set of coupling reactors, or we can say step-up transformers, and the controllers. The advantages of STATCOMs are better reactive power support during faults, fast dynamic response, ability to generate more reactive power, both inductive and capacitive region of operation is possible, and lower generation of harmonics as we uses a power electronics device, and the power electronic devices are prone to generate the harmonics. Now, synchronous condenser. What is synchronous condenser? It is a machine at a variety of operations leading or lagging is known as synchronous machine. It can be obtained by varying the field excitation of the system. An overexcited synchronous motor is working at leading power factor and supplying the leading VAR to the system. An under-excited synchronous machine is working at lagging power factor and taking lagging VAR from the system. So in both cases, one type of machine, H1 case, it is act as a generation of reactive power, and in second case, it acts as a absorption of reactive power. Means it's triggering between capacitance and inductance, or capacitor or inductor. This is a figure or single line diagram where the synchronous machine reactance plus transformer leakage reactance. This is an exciter and coupling transformer. In this system, we have connected a synchronous condenser. This is a machine which operate leading or lagging and obtained a varying field excitation system. Okay. Now, after this lecture, we conclude that we have studied about improving regarding the reactive power compensation. We have studied improving the performance of AC system by reactive power compensation, and also power factor can be improved. Then reduce the consumption of electricity by using smart or automatic STATCOMs and other SVCs. Increased system efficiency. Of course, in output upon input, which is increased system efficiency. It helps to maintain transmission voltage within the limit. Means we improve our voltage profile, and by so we improve our voltage regulation. Then reduce the system losses, that we reduce the IR losses and reduce the KVA demand. So I hope you better understand the compensation of reactive power, why it needed, what is a reactive power, and all basics. Thank you. Thank you so much.